Hey team, I just wanted to run down a relatively new and powerful feature in Google Classrooms, which is the rubric feature. And I'm going to break this video down into 3 parts. The first section, what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to create our own rubrics inside of Google Classroom. So I'll show you how to create a rubric first. Then what we're going to do is use that rubric to grade some schoolwork. So using the rubric to grade should help give you better feedback. Also make your grading process a little bit smoother. So we'll use the rubric for grading, and I'll give an example of that. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can reuse these and import them from Google Sheets if you already have some of your own. So that will be the last segment. Reuse and import. Okay, so those are the 3 things I'm going to cover. Let's jump into creating a classroom, or creating a rubric in Google Classroom. Alright, here we are in an example assignment. This is just an assignment that I made in the example classroom that I'm working with called How to Create and Use a Rubric. And I created just a fake text document, which is an example essay. There's nothing inside this, but this is something that you would do if you were going to use a rubric, right? You would probably have the kids write an essay or do some sort of project, maybe a presentation, whatever it happens to be. All that content's going to get loaded into this assignment description right here. And then what you want to do before you post the assignment is you can go ahead and add a rubric down here. Now you can see that I've already started a rubric, but in your version of this, if you've never made a rubric before, it'll just say add rubric or something like that, and you click that button. So I'm going to click on rubric right now and I'll show you what it looks like. So clearly it has a rubric structure. It's got various points, different categories. Right now this is for a writing rubric. I just kind of was making these up as I went along. It's not an actual rubric that I've used before, so don't be too judgmental about that. But since I already created this assignment, this is the finished version of it. What I want to do now is just show you guys what it'll look like when you first open it up, which is the editable version. And it's going to look something like this. And it's pretty straightforward once you grasp the basic concepts of it. So at the top, what we have is our criterion title. And our criterion title is basically just going to be the category that we're grading. All right. So for an example, I'm going to show you what a typical rubric will look like, and then we'll turn it into a Google rubric. Alright, what you're seeing here is an old writing rubric that we've used in our school before. And what you'll notice along the left-hand side are these different categories. And these categories are what Google will refer to as the criterion title. So if I wanted to make response to the prompt in my new rubric, what I would do is I would go down here. So I have this one all set up. So what I want to do is I want to add a new criterion. So I'm going to click that. Oops, left. And now it says criterion title. So I'm just going to write response to the prompt in there. Oops, there we go. Criterion description. You can see we didn't actually use any criterion descriptions. That would be like the little blurb that would be underneath this. So for this we might say, how well did you answer the main question? Okay. So that's just describing what the criterion is. Now we have our points, our level, and our description. Again, in this rubric, it has points across the top, but it doesn't have levels. And the levels would be something like beginner, emerging, proficient. Maybe proficient would be 3. Developing, proficient, and then excellent or something like that. Okay. So up here, that's what I used: excellent, proficient, emergent, beginning. So right here for points, my rubric, each category has a total of 4 points. So here I would do 4. My level is going to be excellent or excellence. And then my description, I can either type up, I'm bad at spelling this morning. I can either type up, or if I already have a rubric made, I can just copy paste them in. Okay, That's for my first block of my rubric. Then to make another level, I'll just click this plus sign. I'm going to make this one 3. I'm going to call it proficient. And again, I can just go over to my rubric and steal this. Oops. And so on. So I'm just going to finish this up quick. You guys don't necessarily need to watch me do this, and then we'll jump back in. Alright, here we go. You can see I've got my criteria all filled out. Got my title, my criterion description, and then the 4 different levels that I'm going to be looking for. So once I've done that, and once you've got all of your different criterion that you plan on grading into the rubric, you can go ahead and click Save in the upper right here. And then it'll go into your assignment details again. You can double check your rubric if you want to by clicking right here. What's cool about this is it will automatically figure out how much your rubric or your assignment is going to be worth based on the points you put into your rubric. So for example, if I wanted my organization to be the focal point of this, that's what we're working on primarily, I might double all these points or something, and then this category would be worth 8 points, this one would be worth 4, and then my total would be worth 12, and it will figure all that out for you, which is really handy. So this is what it'll look like from the teacher end. It's pretty easy to read. You can understand the organization of it, and it looks like a rubric. All right. So now what I want to do is just pause and talk about what we've covered so far. All right, we finished the first step, which was to create a rubric. And in order to do that, all we had to do was go into a Google Classroom assignment, and then we clicked on Add Rubric. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to use the rubric for grading. So I'm going to show you what it will look like from the teacher end and the student end in this at the beginning and at the end, so that you can get a sense of what the student will be experiencing as well. Alright, so here you can see this is a student view of what they're going to be seeing when they first encounter the assignment that you've created. And what's nice is that it gives them the rubric that you've designed right in the assignment description. So it shows them up front it's worth 8 points, and then they can look at the different criteria that you're going to be judging. So organization, and then the response to the prompt, the criterion that we added is right here as well. So that is right in the assignment description for the student to see right away. Now I'm just going to go ahead and turn this assignment in. You can see it doesn't have anything in it right now. It doesn't really matter. This is our example. I'm going to click Turn In, and then we'll go back to the teacher view and we'll use the rubric to grade. Alright, so here I am in the teacher view. This is under the student work for this particular assignment, which is the fake essay. And I have one generic student account in this classroom who we just saw turn in the essay. So what I want to do now is go ahead and grade it. So I'm going to open it up by clicking on the document that they created. And here's their essay. Clearly they didn't write anything, but this is just practice. Alright, now here it is. We've got this sidebar that has grading options for us, and we can see the various boxes that represent 1 through 4 points that we created when we made the assignment. If you want to see them in more detail, if you forgot what they are, you can expand it to get the descriptors. So let's go ahead and give this person a 4 because they clearly did a nice job. Response to the prompt, they didn't write a single thing. Okay, so now there we go. It has completely updated. I'm going to obviously change this grade. Oh, it calculates the percentage for you if you leave it at 100. So if we were to change this grade to a different thing, then it would automatically calculate the right percentage based on the rubric score. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. And then you can obviously add any other comments that you would like. There's also a comment bank over here in this mini sidebar. So again, a lot of great tools in Google Classroom for leaving feedback that you should explore and use so that the kids know know where they need to improve. All right, this all looks good. I can click return, or if I want to say next time, please try writing something before turning in. I can post that. And there, that's what the student will see, and that's completely a private comment. All right, so I would click that, and then it should go back to the student. And then again, I'll flip back to the student view and we'll see what they get on their end. All right, here I am in the student view, my generic student account, and you can see I've got the graded essay right in front of me. And right away I'm getting this feedback that my organization was excellent, but my response was poor. And I can see the private comment from my teacher. So again, really fantastic feedback options here in Google Classroom. All right, so here we are back at our little landing page. We have created our rubric. We went into a Google Classroom assignment, clicked the Add Rubric button. We developed a quick rubric. Then what we did is we just used the rubric for grading. Now, all we had to do this was go into the Google assignment itself. And what we did was we just clicked on the assignment and it was already generated for us. So all we had to do was choose the options that we've already made. Choose criteria. And then, like we said, you get really great feedback to your students using this method. So the last step now is going to be, how can we reuse these, because we don't want to spend all our time making rubrics. We want to spend our time instructing students. And also, if you already have some rubrics made, how can you import them using Google Sheets? All right, now I'm going to walk you through how we can reuse a rubric for an assignment. When you create a new assignment, you can go ahead and put the title in. Let's say this is our second essay. You do have to... Oh no, you don't. Okay, cool. So once you have that essay made, or the assignment made, all you got to do is click this plus rubric button down here that I was telling you guys about. And now you'll see there's this option for reuse rubric. So when I click that, what pops up are all the rubrics that I've used for this class, but it also has all of my other classes that I've ever taught before. So anytime you make a rubric, you're going to have access to it as long as you are on Google Classroom, which is really, really awesome. So I just want to reuse this one that we just made. I can just click it, hit select. If I want to, I can preview it and it'll give me the rundown real quick. And if it's what I like, then I'll just click select and boom, there it is. Super easy to reuse, and you can use them across classrooms, which means if you're sharing classrooms with other teachers, if they've developed rubrics and use them in their classes, you can actually pretty much just steal them from their classrooms as well and edit them as you need. Really handy. All right, now we're going to try to import a spreadsheet rubric into Google Classroom and go through the process for how that works. The one caveat to this is that you do need to use a specific setup in your Google Sheets rubric in order for this import to work correctly. For example, if I were to just try to import this rubric that I showed you earlier, it actually fails. It doesn't work. So what you need to do is you need to put it in a specific format, and I found this example here by somebody named Alice Keeler, and it is the only way that Google will understand how to import that information and turn it into its form of the rubric. So what I'm going to do is I'll post this in the assignment description, and then you guys can use this and edit it as you like and as you need. But basically, in the upper left here, we would just put our title. Here we would put our description of whatever that particular criterion is. Then we've got the points in the light blue. We've got the titles in the green, and then the different descriptions in the pink. And then if you wanted to add more criteria to it, what you would do is you would just copy paste this format and continue going down. So you can see right now I would have two criteria, which would be labeled with title and title 2. All right, so let's try to import this into our Google Classroom and see what it looks like. So I'm going to go to rubric again. This time I'm going to click rubric or import from Sheets. And here it is. I just added it, so I'm going to click add. And you can see title, which is coming from right here. Then it will say description, here are my points, and then the level titles and the description just as they are put right here. Okay, so again, we can edit this to do whatever we want, and if you already have stuff set up in Google Sheets, you can just copy paste it right into there and edit it as you need. You can do more than 4 grading columns. Supposedly you can do up to 200 different criteria, so it's pretty much a limitless rubric that you could generate with Google Classroom here. Right, so that pretty much wraps up everything I wanted to show you about creating and using rubrics. As far as the reuse and import, we can always reuse old Google Classroom rubrics that we've used in other classes. We can steal them from other classes or from other teachers that we might have shared classroom. So shared classes. Again, this is just gonna save you some work. If somebody already made something that you can use, why not use it? And then I also showed you how we can import from a spreadsheet using the specific setup. Import spreadsheets, but we want to make sure we use that particular template. Okay, so we started by going into Google Classroom. We made a new assignment, created a rubric for it. We used the Google Classroom format to create the rubric. Then we assigned it. We submitted a student example. We selected the criteria that matched their performance. We gave immediate feedback to the student. Then what we did is we tried creating a new assignment, and we could find and reuse that very same rubric that we just generated. And you could also find other rubrics from other classes if you needed to. Lastly, we tried to import a spreadsheet to turn it into a rubric. This is a little bit more nuanced than I thought it would be, but you can do it with a specific template. So that's literally everything I know about Google Classroom and rubrics. Let me know if you want to know anything more or if you have any tips to share with us. Thanks for listening.